You alright, lads? Welcome to episode 3 of the Isocast. I don't think anyone expected me to actually get this far, but here we are, episode 3. Let's see how long we can keep the streak for. Today we're with a very special guest. We're with someone who I genuinely believe could be the future of YouTube without sucking up to you too much.
There we go. What a start that
yeah,
is.
it's Mr. Liam Bedford, everybody. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Thank you for having me on. This is really exciting. I'm enjoying it, and also
Yeah.
what a way, what an introduction that is there.
I tried to give each person a good intro, but with you, I genuinely mean it. I think your
mate.
videos are sick.
That's class,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, I guess let's just get straight to it. What have you been up to in quarantine?
So what have I been up to? So I do work full time as well. I've been working obviously 5 days a week for the company I work for, which is like a mental health company, and
You've been working from home, I'm guessing. Or...
Working from home, yeah.
Yeah.
I do video editing and stuff for my job as well. So it's a lot of that. Did a few podcasts. I did another podcast today, funny enough, for work. So this is the second podcast of the day.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm hoping this one's going to be a little more light-hearted compared to the one I had earlier, which I'm sure it is going to be if we're talking all things YouTube.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, not too bad for the whole isolation thing. It's kind of it's weird, isn't it? It's different, but here we are.
It is very different. I don't think anyone really knew what to expect because, we haven't really had anything. Or at least in our lifetimes, I don't think we've ever really had anything like this happen.
No.
So it's very interesting. It's interesting to see how it slowly progressed and just got worse and worse and worse. I don't think anyone thought that we'd be stuck inside when the coronavirus first became a thing.
No, I'm saying not. I mean,
you know
my
what I
work was actually quite quick on to what was going on, and we started working from home about a week or two before everyone else to kind of test it. So I'm now actually on my 5th week of doing this now. So I promise you
Nice.
It gets a little bit easier. I'm starting to get a bit more used to it. Life stuck inside all day. But yeah.
I mean, it's a good job that this has happened now in the year 2020 rather than a long time ago, because how realistically people wouldn't have really been able to function if this happened a long time ago, because
No.
the internet was nowhere near as good as it is now.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And also connection is good as well. Although you and me have never spoke before, and now here we are doing a virtual podcast. We're lucky that we can do this sort of thing, aren't we? So yeah.
Fully. We really take... I feel like people in general really take for granted the fact that we can literally just ring anyone from anywhere in the world at any time, pretty much. With the power of the internet, it's insane when you really take a step back and think about it.
Yeah, it's unreal, isn't it?
But yeah, it's sick. I wanted to ask you about what you do for a living, because I've heard a little bit about it and it sounds quite interesting. Who do you work for? What do you do?
I'm actually repping the brand right now. I'm always repping the brand. I think it's because I got no.
I've seen in your videos, yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically a mental health company called Sanctus, and the main goal is to change the perception of mental health, get people talking about it, to normalise it. It's something that means a lot to me, and I've actually been working there a year this week. On Friday is my year anniversary, and I do video editing and design work and creative stuff like that. That's what I studied at uni, and that's obviously why I do my YouTube stuff as well. It's just another way that I get to creatively express myself. So that's great. That's the top line of it.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. So what kind of stuff do you edit? In terms of video editing, is it promotional stuff for the company? Is it films? What kind of stuff do you edit?
It's just getting eyes on the brand really as my main focus. We do the company's run off getting coaches, so which are kind of they're not therapists, but they're called mental health coaches, and we put them in workplaces that partner with us, and then they can do 8 sessions a day in their workplace. So it's good for. So what I'm trying to do is make content to either get people to get Sanctus in their company and realise that it's important, or B, just the generic, just get people talking about mental health, which is more of the brand side of it. And that's the main goal really, and obviously having this conversation right now as well. Hopefully people listen to this will start taking it a bit more seriously. I think it's different nowadays. I mean, I know that you and the group that I've kind of found myself talking to the last couple of weeks are all a little bit younger than me, so I think understand it a little bit more. But definitely when I was growing up, more so at school and stuff like that, there was never conversations about mental health. I can guarantee that, and that's all happened in the last 5-6 years really. So a lot is changing in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the quicker it gets normalised, the quicker people will grow up in a world where they've never known anything different. People who are born now, let's say in 15, 20 years, when they're older, they're just never really going to know a world where mental health isn't spoken about, and they'll think the idea of bottling emotions up is a much worse thing than what some people now will perceive it as.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, spot on, mate. I mean, that's the dream, that's the goal, and I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think that could happen. So yeah, there we are.
And I think it inevitably will happen with companies like what you're doing, sort of like normalizing it. Do you think that sort of like social media use, because obviously there's a lot of like kind of advocates for mental health awareness on social media, which is slightly ironic considering the fact that a lot of the time social media is a massive cause of mental health problems.
Yeah.
Do you think that social media overall like does more good or bad for mental health? Like maybe for you personally, but also like just people in general. Do you think it does like more good or bad?
Well, I think, to be honest, mental health is different for people anyway. Like any range of it is always going to be different for people. Like for me, I see social media, like my YouTube channel is my journal, man. Like that's instead of waking up every morning and writing about my day, like if I want to express myself creatively or if I want to make a video, like I'll put it on YouTube. And it's a bit exposing because like, I mean, in a lot of my videos I've spoken about like struggles with mental health or like why I care about it. But the reality is I'm making these videos for me, and then if other people are watching it and they're enjoying it. And it's the same with my Instagram, like, and my LinkedIn. I've got quite like a bit of a following on LinkedIn and post stuff on there, which is definitely probably to you, you're like, oh wow, big on LinkedIn, what a great thing that is. But yeah, no, it's it's different for different people. Obviously, there's negative connotations for sure. I'm sure that if people are looking at pictures of other people who are looking a certain way, then it will make you feel shit about yourself. Or if people are going on and doing all these things and you're not, it'll make you feel shit about yourself, obviously. And there is that side of it, but it's all in limitations, isn't it? Everything's in limitations,
I guess. It's all sort of like, it's kind of, it obviously each to their own, like different people respond to different things differently. But I think a big sort of cause of like modern mental health, this is like you and your element, so I know you'll probably know a lot more about this than me.
Yeah.
But like, I guess it's this sort of like nature of everything on social media is like a highlight reel. Like a lot of people will see what you post on social media, think your life's perfect because everything you post is like, it's like the best bits of your life. They don't see the moments where you're down. So it's
but just following on from that, it's basically the same, exactly what you just said. Like don't take everything you see online with a pinch of salt, I guess. There's very few people who will show every single side of them, and also you're never going to be watching someone for 24/7 on social media. You're never going to see them when they're at their low or when they're at their proper highs. Like everything's kind of constructed. But I think if you look at social media without rose tinted glasses anyway, and then I think you're smart enough to realise that anyway, and realise that it's not always what it looks like.
I think the older you get, the quicker you realise that, which in my opinion is why younger kids shouldn't necessarily really be exposed to social media early. But I think with the kind of the way the world's going, that social media is just becoming sort of like the ruling business, I guess. It's like it's what everyone's on. So I think naturally kids will just start to get on social media earlier and earlier, which can do good and bad, I guess. Do you think that this whole like self-isolation, this quarantine, do you think that it's impacted you negatively? Because obviously a lot of your videos involve going outside. They involve like a lot of sort of kind of big outdoor project type videos. Do you think that this is like kind of set your channel back a little bit, or do you reckon you can adapt and just make videos from home?
I think a bit of both, to be honest. Like I'm not going and doing the sort of videos that I'd planned to have done, right? These big, as you said, these big pieces of content that I want to do, where I go out and about and I do something stupid, or if I'm in the streets interviewing people. Which we are going to get onto, by the way, like the paperclip video and all that stuff. I do want to talk about that. Okay, perfect. But yeah, no, I mean, at the same time though, like it goes back to the point that I said there, that YouTube's my journal, so I'm uploading what is real and happening right now, and the reality is that I'm inside just like every single other person. So I've got, like, I put out a video last week, I think, during this isolation, and I've got a big one I'm working on at the moment, and I think this is the one I'm working on now has potential to be probably one of my best videos, and that's all from the comfort of my house. So I think it's just a case of still trying to think big and like massive ideas while obviously there are restrictions and limitations, but if you get those creative juices flowing, I'm sure that we're all adapt and get content out, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I think in some ways it obviously is a limitation, because it's like, now that I am stuck inside, I do want to go out and start filming outdoor videos, like the type of stuff that you've obviously done. I think at the same time it also kind of isn't a limitation, because it's not as if we're the only ones inside. Like, everyone's inside right now, so it's not as if other people are able to and we're not. So we're just sort of matching what everyone else is doing. It's not as if it's something that's like only limiting us and kind of setting us behind other people.
Yeah, I guarantee there will be a few creators that come out of this whole situation better than they were off before going into it, because this is where the really creative people will shine through, I guess. And this is an opportunity to take risks, try new things, adapt, and I'm intrigued to see what people come up with. And also, like, people want to see content more than ever now. Like, people have got nothing to do.
Yeah, because the demand is there, because people are just all at home watching YouTube content, so they're going to want something new. I think it definitely is a time for people to switch up their content, because obviously, if we look at what Zac and Jay are doing, which also I want to get onto that as well.
I was just about to say
looking at what Zac and Jay are doing, they've started like the Stuck Inside show or whatever is that what it's called? The Stuck Inside show, they've started that. So it's like, it's just a matter of like changing what you're doing, making it fit staying at home. And I think there are gonna no doubt be some people that absolutely smash like home content, because YouTube was just starting to move away from this whole like sort of like you sit in your room and you talk to a camera. Like people were branching out and doing outdoor videos, but now I guess it's just suddenly like everyone's back to what we were doing before.
Exactly, yeah.
It's weird. But I think it benefits people who do things like TikTok, because obviously that has always just sort of like been inside content, and that is kind of the essence of it. So I guess it benefits that, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to ask about, talking to Zac and Jay, I wanted to ask about that because I don't know how many of the viewers know this. Well, anyone who watches your channel will know this.
Yeah.
You've had some contact with Zac and Jay, like you know them personally. How did that start?
Yeah, I mean, so like, I want to put it out there and say that like me and Zac and Jay are not like best buds. Like, before I put it out there.
Yeah, I figured that.
And I'd be lying if I said I'm literally looking down at my desk right now and I've got the 500k coin and the 100k coin and pictures on my wall. So if I was mate to them, it'd look like I'm literally like stalking them. Although I guess I technically am doing that as well. But basically, the story starts a long time ago, in the sense that I was following Zac's channel from when he had about 400 subscribers, and when he did the
400.
Yeah, so I was watching the they did like an Olympic bus tour video where they broke into that, and this is before Zac and Jay was a thing, but Jay was just in their videos. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was just always a fan of them, and I bought a little bit of Zac's merch and was kind of there from the get-go. And then Sanctus, the company I work for, my old housemate Scott used to work there before I did, and also when I joined he was there for a bit. And he was doing a podcast for Sanctus, and he said, we've got some YouTubers on today, they're called Zac and Jay. And I was like, you're kidding me. I was like, I literally have been watching these boys for years. And I was like, what are the chances of that? And it turns out that one of the co-founders, one of my good mates, George, he has really good friends with Jay, and he was actually the person who told them to go for it and call themselves the Zac and Jay Show and commit to it, because Jay had to close a business to take this risk and punt and go for the Zac and Jay Show. So George was, I don't know if you've seen the 100k special, but he was there in his Sanctus top saying the story as it was. And it's slowly through that, as I joined Sanctus and was good friends with George, I slowly met I can't remember when I first met the guys, to be honest. I've only met them a handful of times, but slowly from there just started talking to them and like messaging Jay, and I've had a few phone calls with him. I've helped them out with some videos before, in the sense that I like appeared in them like briefly, they're really sound guys, to be fair. They're really supportive of me as well. They've watched some of my videos, commented some of my videos, and will be appearing in some of my videos, which is a little bit of intel for you there.
That's mad. I didn't know that you were like that involved with them, like right from the beginning.
Yeah, well, I don't think they appreciate that either.
That's crazy.
I've never really sat down and I had a lunch with Jamie once, and we literally, and a few other people, and all I talked about was YouTube. Like, I was literally just down the table, just being like, "What video you got next?" Blah blah blah. And he was just there, I don't think he watches much YouTube, to be honest, but I was just there, just like, like I was like, I can't believe that I'm talking.
I found that's actually I found that's actually quite a common pattern, that a lot of big YouTubers don't watch much YouTube, which is weird. I guess maybe it's just because they're really focused on making their own content. But as a small YouTuber, you want to watch as much YouTube as you can, because it's just taking notes of how to do things. That is a crazy story. I guess that's just like, it's a matter of being in the right place at the right time, and you were very lucky to know them.
Yeah, for sure. And I've hopefully that dynamic will continue I'd love to. The thing is look, primarily, I just love their channel. Like, they are my favorite YouTubers. So.
I think they're brilliant, and I think that they, seeing how they've adapted to the Stuck Inside show, it just shows like they are truly like, calling them creative geniuses sounds like I'm up their arse, but it's like they're so good at just sort of like nailing whatever it is they're doing. Like, no matter what it is, they've done so many different like weird challenges, but it just feels like right, if that makes sense. Like, all of their videos just feel very natural.
Yeah, and again, they take risks, man. They take risks. Like, they try new things. They've posted videos that like have not gotten done as well as others, and not like it's got a backlash, but in the sense just views wise, like. But they try new things and they're learning, and then they're growing an audience now, and like a big audience as well. I can see them being like up there with the big boys in not very long, and they already kind of are, you know, appearing in Sidemen videos and all this sort of stuff.
They were in the most recent Will and E video.
Yeah.
So like, I think they definitely are kind of climbing the ladder. I discovered them like just before they sort of started to break through into like the sort of like the real deal YouTubers, if you get what I mean. So I remember watching them thinking like, oh my god, like why aren't they up at the top? And then very soon after I started watching them, they started to break through.
Well, I mean, at one point I was literally so I was chatting with them, and this was just as I joined Sanctus, and if I didn't join Sanctus, I think it may have gone slightly differently. But I was basically like putting it all out on the table, saying that I wanted to do editing for them, and I made the right decision for sure. I absolutely love where I work right now. But yeah, it's weird to think that if because this was when they were probably around 70,000 subscribers at this point. And imagine just like editing that, and then all of a sudden there's just this big boom, and they've been signed up by some company now and stuff. So they've done very well.
They have done extremely well. I remember the first ever video I watched of I watched one of Zac's videos quite a while ago where he like snuck into the ring at an Anthony Joshua fight or something. I remember that was the first one I watched, but I had no idea who he was at the time. It was just sort of a matter of like, oh, random video on my recommended. What's this? Like, not necessarily watching him because like you know who he is, but he just has that. Zac especially, like, don't get me wrong, I love Jay, but Zac especially, there's something about him that he just has this certain way about him that he's able to do anything. Like, all he has to do is just kind of look like he knows what he's doing and look like he's meant to be somewhere, and it almost always succeeds.
Yeah, for sure. I think Zac's got like this sort of, he just walks around with this sort of like, I'm supposed to be here sort of thing, where Jay after speaking to him before, like, he can talk himself into anything, man. Like, he has got like the gift of the gab sort of thing, which comes from I'm sure the business ventures that he's been on before. But if you ever see him doing these fake pitches or everything, like, he can just literally waffle until you believe what he's saying. And as a partnership with the sort of stuff that they do and all of these sneaking in events and stuff like that, it works perfectly.
They're both very sort of like persuasive characters. I think they both know exactly what they're doing in order to sort of like get what they want. And I guess in this day and age of YouTube, it's what you need to get up to the top, because you need the viewers to believe you, because there's so many people doing YouTube now that you do need to have that kind of extra something and that way about you, which they both 100% have.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've heard a lot of people compare them to like I've heard a lot of people say they're like TGF without the pain element and things like that. Like, what are your opinions on YouTubers like TGF? Do you think that it's because seeing that you make videos that are maybe sort of like a little bit more mature, a little bit more subtle, they're very much like over the top personalities. What's your opinion on that sort of side of YouTube?
I mean, I find TGF hilarious, like I just do. It's one of those things, like I've slowly over the last couple of years have started like getting my mates to watch YouTube with me as well, because like I've always just been like a YouTube fanboy, in the sense that I will always spend every evening watching YouTube, which I'm sure you're the same. But
yes, I am the same.
I've slowly like started showing videos, and TGF's one of those videos where it pops up, and my mates are sitting there, and I'm like, ooh, how are they gonna feel watching this one? Because it is absolute carnage, obviously, from start to finish normally. It's entertainment. I mean, it's just different forms of entertainment. They're almost like the jackass of YouTube, I guess.
Jackass of YouTube, yeah.
And
100%.
I don't have anything against like that sort of content. Obviously, like, I don't know, there's been some suspect. I saw a video, I think this was the last one I watched actually. They were doing the driving thing, weren't they? Where they're
the driving video,
and I did think, God, that's a bit on the line, isn't it? Like,
I was shocked by it personally. Like, I appreciate the fact that there was a car in front, there was a car behind. They were making sure that no one actually got hurt. But for me, I think that, in my opinion, that video did cross the line just because of like the principle of them sort of being like, look at us, it's funny just to fuck around in a car. I think in terms of like being role models, which I know they're not really role models, you got to be mental to think they are, but they do sort of have that sort of like responsibility of don't promote the fact that mucking about in a car is a good idea.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't know if that was. I've heard a lot of my mates say that they thought it was just jokes and that on Top Gear they do that kind of stuff all the time, but there's something different when it's a YouTube audience. What I think's interesting is that people are comparing it to TV, because I don't really think that's that good of a comparison, because when you watch TV, you feel further removed from it and you feel like it's not something that you could actually do yourself, whereas when you watch YouTubers, the whole point of like a YouTuber is that you feel related to them and you sort of like, you get drawn in by what they're doing. So seeing Jay and Ramel fuck around in a car, it's sort of like, I can go do that myself, if you get what I mean. It's a little bit different.
I know what you mean. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I think it's definitely harder to separate YouTube and from entertainment, because these are people you're following a lot more as well day to day. Like, you're seeing a lot more of their life than you would a TV star or an actor, or even the fact that they are real people and not just characters, right? But
YouTubers definitely have a very different audience to any other type of celebrity, because people really feel like they know them. Like, obviously, like, people who are fans of, like, I don't know, like Justin Bieber or something, like, you'll see those fan accounts on Twitter and it's like, you can tell the person feels like they know the celebrity, but it's even more so on YouTube, because the whole thing is that it's just their persona. It's not necessarily based off like one single skill, it's just a persona online, so people feel like they really know you.
No, for sure. But like with TGF, obviously, like, the way that they've kind of gone about it is that, like, they're doing crazy shit, and they've always done crazy shit, right? And people want to see the crazy shit, so they've got to make sure that each video is more crazy than the last one they've done. Otherwise, the attention span's going to go, you know? And obviously that sort of thing happened with Logan Paul. Obviously we know what happened and all that sort of stuff, and Jake Paul's done some crazy things as well. But the starting question was like, what's my opinion on it, sort of thing. And I think as long as you can separate the fact that you know what's entertainment and what's stupid, then, and obviously, and there's no actual rules that are broken. That's why I said that the car one was a bit touch and go for me. But yeah, I don't really, other than that, all I know is I won't be doing any videos like that, that's for sure, because that's not in my nature, basically.
Yeah. You're not really that similar to them, but I do think that maybe like you share a mindset with them in the way that I've seen them in like interviews say things like like we tried making videos where we just sit at home and talk and stuff, but like that wasn't good enough for me. I had to just go out and do this mad stuff to sort of like make it feel entertaining enough. Your videos are very much centered around going out, so do you sort of share that mindset of like, can't stay inside? Yeah,
well, I mean, the last, like, one of the last videos I did was talking about like going on the radio, and a video about that, and that was the first time in about 10 or so years that I'd set up a camera in my room and spoke to a camera on my own for like a YouTube video. Like, I used to do that back in the day all the time, but I feel confident in front of a camera, right? And I've got nothing wrong with the camera, and I'm looking at the camera right now as I'm speaking to you, but I can only be myself. Like, I can't switch on in the sense that I'm all crazy now and my hands are all going mad and I'm looking at the camera and I'm like, oh, and so energetic. And it's just and that's just like who I am. It's just like I'm still being me in front of the video, so I'm going to keep it like that. Whereas if I'm out and about on the streets, I feel like I've got a bit of a guard or a shield with the mic, and I can piss about a little bit more. And yeah,
I completely understand that. Yeah, let's talk about this radio interview you did, because I'm not too sure how this came about. I think it was something on Twitter, but I think you're definitely the better person to explain what happened. So you ended up on Radio 1 fairly recently, didn't you? Was it Radio 1?
It was BBC Radio, but it was Gloucestershire. It wasn't as exciting as Radio 1, unfortunately.
I was going to say, when I first saw it, I was like, that is huge if you ended up on Radio 1. But alright, so Gloucestershire Radio, how did this all come about?
Well, the short story is that I went to uni, the University of Gloucestershire in Cheltenham, so that's where I studied, and there was someone who was in the year below me who did the same course, who started working for BBC Radio Gloucestershire and was watching my videos and following my tweets and stuff like that, and thought, get him on the show, talk about his channel and stuff like that, and I've been on there twice now. I was on it the other day as well. And yeah, I guess there's a little relationship going on there where I'll just keep doing some radio performances and like co-hosting every so often, which is really cool. Again, like, it just seems so surreal because of how small of a channel I've got, but I know that people, like, no matter how small the channel is, people are enjoying the videos I'm putting out, and I'm trying to do some ambitious things. I haven't got a small channel mentality. Everything I try and do is kind of what I would do.
Always trying to break the boundaries down. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah, that was such a cool experience.
I can imagine, yeah. Were you scared? Because I know you said in the video you were quite nervous. Like, tell us what was going through your head when you went there on the day. Like, what happened?
I was shitting it. I was fully shitting it.
Yeah.
I have, like... I get nervous for things I shouldn't get nervous for, and then I don't get nervous for things that I should get nervous for, if that makes sense. Like, there's...
Fair enough, yeah.
And the radio thing, I thought I was going to be cool with, because I was like, all I've got to do is talk about myself, and, like, that's my bread and butter, talking... like about my YouTube channel, all that sort of stuff. But I was getting nervous. But honestly, from the moment that he was like, "You're right, Liam," and I said, "Hello, mate," like in front of the camera.
Hello, mate. I watched that video earlier today, and I was like doing my research for this interview, like, classmate. It was I creased, yeah.
No, it's literally just like from the get go. It was like, right, well, there we are now. Like, just be you and that sort of thing, and that was what the vibe I was going for.
That's great, yeah. You also revealed a certain tattoo, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
On live radio.
So what was the bet? Well, I mean, I can guess what the bet was, but
So during the 2018 World Cup, I've made a video about this whole thing as well if people want the full story. But basically, one of my mates, me and one of my mates were at work watching the first England game, and we just won the game 2-1, and we were like pissed, like we'd had a lot of beers, and my mate turned to me and he said, like, we should put on some sort of like World Cup bet, and I couldn't. It was a bit. My memory's a bit foggy from the night, understandably, and we kind of woke up the next day and basically had been told that we had said in the next England game, if we score more than 4 goals, we're gonna get his coming home tattooed on our arse. And
it was 6-0, wasn't it?
It was 6-0, yeah.
6-1? 6-1?
6-1.
I can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah. I think it was 6-1.
I think they bagged one at the end, yeah, but...
Yeah, they did, and it was 5-0 at half-time, so I'm sitting there at half-time, for fuck's sake. Like, I'm going to get his coming home tattooed on my arse. And, yeah, the mate that I was getting it with, he literally went and got it that day, because he was with his friends, and they paid for it. So, next thing you know, I'm just like, well, I can't leave him to it. So, yeah, I've actually got It's Coming Home tattooed on my arse, and I will do forever now.
That is brilliant. I mean, it's a good memory to have.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good summer, so at least we did something that summer. Yeah. We're not going to do anything this year.
Mental. Yeah, no, that is hilarious. Just to completely change the subject now, I saw recently, a lot of people would have seen this, you have a sort of ongoing, not beef, but you have a bit of a back and forth going on with Jackmate, of all people.
Yeah.
No, How did that come?
Yeah, to be fair, I've got quite a few of these like longish stories that kind of just like, they don't make sense. It's similar to the fact there that I just said, like, I don't really have like a small channel mentality, like, at all, and I never have done from the get-go. I made my first video with a YouTuber called Rosie, who had like 120,000 subscribers. She's not been like posting as much as she used to back in the day, but we made a video of each other and instantly like had like a little kickstart from that, gained like 100 subs from that video. And in my head,
how did you know her?
Yeah, I used to work with her. I'm good friends with her as well.
Oh, fair enough. Because I was going to say, like, for someone starting out, like, with all due respect, if they have 100k subs, they're unlikely to collab with them. So I guess if you know them in real life, it's a huge advantage.
I literally just said to her, like, I want to get back on making a YouTube channel, because I used to have channels when I was like 11, 12, which is what, like, God, 11 years ago now, which is really scary.
Mad, yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, I want to make a channel. She said that she wanted to start making videos with other people, try some other stuff. So we did a video together, and then I made a second video called Tinnies in the Park, which I actually think I can do so much better, and I probably will get back round to. And it's very similar to what that Kieran Carlin and Bambino Becky have done, in the sense that they went and visited all the spoons in one day in London. And I kind of did something very similar to that, but before them, about 6-7 months before they did. But it was drinking in every park in London. So it was called Tinnies in the Park. Okay. So that was the concept, and that's what I did. And I put the video out, and I thought it was hilarious. And then I just started DMing people. Like, literally just started jumping in the DMs of like 10 to 15 YouTubers, of people that I thought would enjoy it, and sent it to them, and got a few responses from people. A few YouTubers who said they weren't interested or anything. I won't say who, but like, which is fair enough, because I literally had 100 subs. But then Jackmate responded. This was a while back now. This is like over a year ago. And Jack's like, it sounds really interesting, sounds different, sounds really fun, like count me in sort of thing, but just not this month, just give me a month or so. So I was like, cool, sounds good. And
when was this?
That was like November, not last year, the year before, so over a year ago now.
It's November 2018. Okay, yeah.
So that's like the first touch point between the two of us, where we like had a few DMs, and on Christmas Day we wished each other a Merry Christmas really randomly, because we were talking about something else at the time. So that was like the first thing, and then all of a sudden, about jump like 6-7 months forward, we've still not done this video together. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Like, I've sent a few messages, he's not responded, sort of thing. So I was like, fair enough. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just a small YouTuber. Like, I'm nothing. Like, I don't mean anything to him, sort of thing. But then I
think meaning nothing to him is a little bit of a strong way to put it. I think you're being harsh on yourself there. I think it's more that, like, when you're a big YouTuber, you'll have so many people like coming at you being like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? So I guess it is kind of limiting like what you actually can and can't do.
Yeah, no, very true.
I think Jack is a very genuine guy in the way that he will still listen to people even if they don't have a sub count. Like, I think Jack's someone who doesn't really get swept away with the whole like relevancy thing, I think.
Yeah, I actually would agree with that. I probably wouldn't have agreed with that statement about a month and a half ago, when the video came out, but I completely agree with that statement now, because we've spoke a little bit since what's happened now.
Since the diss track, yeah.
Yeah, so basically,
anyway, talk about that.
I jumped on the stream, and he does those spin the wheel sort of streams, and I won a t-shirt on that, right? That's all it was, and I was like, oh, cool. So he like asked my address and that, and again, this was a while back now, and it got round to it about a month and a half ago, and I was looking through videos on my phone and found this video of Jack basically being like, you've won the t-shirt, that I recorded on my phone, and I was like, I completely forgot about that. And it's been about 8 months and I haven't got my bloody t-shirt yet. I was like, where is this t-shirt? And I was like, and he never did the Tinnies in the Park collab with me. So I just thought, like, wouldn't it be funny if I just made a joke diss track on him about the fact that he hasn't sent me a t-shirt? And I did it. I recorded it, the song and the video, all in about 2 or 3 days after I had that idea, and put it out for the world to see. And yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah,
he's seen it. It was a good diss track. He's acknowledged it. He's
yeah. That's brilliant, yeah. I think that type of stuff is the perfect thing to drop a diss track on, because in my opinion, YouTuber diss track should never really be a serious thing. Like, unless you have a genuine sort of like rapping ability and you happen to be on YouTube, okay, cool, do your thing. But like, I think that like joking YouTuber diss tracks over things that aren't that serious are the best way to go about it, and I think you smashed that in the way that it's like, it did spark from something, but it was just like a funny little thing that doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Like, I think that's in my opinion that's like the best way to go about it. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. What other, besides your sort of like joking back and forth what is your opinion on Jack, mate? Do you like him?
Yeah, no, I mean, I said it in the track. I've said it to him personally over message. Like, I think his videos are class. I've watched him for a while, to be fair, since I was young. Like way before he was actually like probably even like counted as like an actual big UK YouTuber, like before Rizzo, wear their calendars and stuff like that, which isn't that surprising.
I remember I remember finding him back in the day when he'd do those sort of like 5 rumours we all believed in school type videos and that type of stuff.
Yeah, no,
I thought he was sick. I thought he was sick back at the time, because there were very few YouTubers that were still doing those types of videos and making it funny. But then it was only a matter of time until he moved out of it as well and started going into the commentary, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, I still rate his videos as well, and I listen to his podcasts, and like, I think he's a class guy, and the fact that he's I've got my t-shirt on the way now, finally. I finally got it through to him, and I've got my t-shirt.
So you do have the t-shirt now, do you?
I don't have it yet. Well, it's supposed to be showing up now, so if it doesn't show up again now, we may need to have part 2 on my diss track.
Let me know if the t-shirt shows up.
Yeah.
I do really like Jack Mate's podcast as well. Like, I think there's just something very sort of like warming about it, in the way that it's not like a really serious, intense debate. It's just sort of like laid back, but they do have some interesting discussions as well. It's like a nice balance, in my opinion. Yeah. What's your go-to meal deal?
Oh, the classic Jack Mate question.
The classic Jack Mate question.
My go-to meal deal is like a chicken and bacon sandwich, or like something meaty like that, with pickled onion Monster Munch, and
solid.
Normally a nice coffee. I love like a nice coffee.
Decent.
What about yours? What about yours?
So I'd usually go for sort of like chicken wrap. I do quite like chicken wraps, especially like the ones from Tesco. I think they're decent. Occasionally I go for a pasta dish, but I'd say probably chicken wrap is the most solid option, like southern fried chicken or something. Nice. Snack, I quite like McCoy's salt and vinegar.
Nice, that's a good choice.
I think salt and vinegar in general I love, but I think the McCoy's salt and vinegar is the best.
100% agree.
And as a drink, I don't know, it varies. A lot of the time I'll get like a Fanta. Like, okay. I think I'm more of a cold drink guy. I know you said you like coffee, but I don't really drink hot drinks that much. I prefer cold drinks. Mm-hmm. Solid Fanta.
Solid Fanta. Yeah. That's you know what? If I was to rate that meal deal, I would give that like maybe a 7. You know, which is quite good. I think
7 out of 10. I'll take a 7 out of 10.
And not that I'm the meal deal connoisseur, and not that my opinion matters more than anyone else's, but I'm just telling you, it's a 7 in my eyes.
I'd rate mine a 10, but that's because it's mine. Yeah. So it makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So through all your videos, through your sort of kind of journey on YouTube, quite a few times now you've shared your opinion on Stormzy and how he's very much your idol. What is it about him that makes him like sort of over anyone else? Like, I know that he's obviously a great guy, but you really rate him. Like, what is it about him that you really like?
I mean, I'm literally wearing a Stormzy hat right now. I'll just show it to the camera. I literally, oh god, it's so weird. Like, I didn't appreciate how much like I liked the guy until like a couple of months ago. Until I had the opportunity in January to go to one of his private gigs, and when I say I had the opportunity, I ran to a private gig and was one of the first people in there. And from that day I was just like, shit, like I really like this guy, man. I put up a photo of him at my wall at my work, and I said I'm going to meet him this year, and literally that private gig was 2 days later, which is so random. So, some of these random stuff just happened to me, man, like that sort of wishful thinking and trying to put stuff in the future to happen, like it just happened like that. And obviously like music, like I'm a big fan of his music, big fan of his last 2 albums, and also the stuff that he was doing before that. I used to run a grime channel back in uni, and always rated him. But then I think the big change for me was when I was going through a period where I was kind of struggling with my mental health. He spoke out about it, and I was looking at Stormzy, who is this like big grime star, this big like hard man, who was talking about how he like feels low and he has down days and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, if he's allowed to feel like that, then I definitely am allowed to feel like that. And it just made me like realise that everyone's allowed to feel that sort of way and talk about mental health like that. And I was just like, this guy's a legend, this guy's a G. I just realised he's behind me as well now. God, I'm looking like a psycho. But yeah, he's class. Like he's just absolutely class.
Oh, I thought you meant he was actually behind you for a second. I was
surprise guest, Stormzy on the Tom
you're right, surprise.
Episode 4.
Yeah, set up Stormzy to come and oh, brilliant! Yeah, Stormzy, next guest on the Tom GW podcast. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think he's a very grounded individual. I think especially like he's someone who's adapted to fame extremely well. I 100%.
Think.
100%. He's a very grounded guy.
Yeah, he's just down to earth, isn't he? Down to earth guy. Does a lot of like stuff for his own culture, but also just like I don't know. He just seems like he wants to give back. You know, he appreciates where he is. He's appreciated that he got to the top. He's one of the biggest faces in the country probably this year, especially going into before all of this has happened. I don't know. Yeah, he just seems down to earth and genuine, and I rate that about someone who's up there at the top. To be honest,
up there at the top, but still sort of like grounded in a way that makes them seem like a very normal person and not kind of carried away in the fame. Yeah, I do really rate that. The thing I find really interesting about people when they make it to the top of whatever field they're in, whether it's YouTube or whether it's music or whether it's a sport or whatever, like the moment someone's at the top and they're like the main man, they start to get disliked a lot of the time, which is it's interesting because the moment someone makes it to the top, everyone sort of just sees them as like the basic option. It's like, oh, who's your favourite rapper? Stormzy. People will be like, bit of a basic option because it's kind of he's the face of it. I think. What's your opinion on that sort of mindset? Do you think people should be able to like whoever they want, or do you think that there is an element of people just liking whoever's the most famous and whoever's like the most sort of easy option?
I don't know. It's kind of like oh, sorry, 1 minute. There's something in my throat. Oh, I don't know, what is my... Yeah,
You all right?
yeah, I'm alright. I'm just slowly dying during your podcast right now, apparently. Here we are. Wait, ask the question again. Sorry, I've completely flustered myself there.
So, you know how a lot of people, it comes with sport, it comes with YouTube, whatever. Like, let's say if someone said their favourite YouTuber is KSI, people would say that that's quite a sort of like a basic option because they are the most famous one. It's just kind of easy to just be like, they're my favourite. What's your opinion on that? Would you like sort of think of anyone else as kind of a bit basic for saying that, or do you think if someone has the reasoning for liking someone, it should be whatever?
Yeah, I think the second part, mate. I think just you like who you like, don't you? And it doesn't matter how famous. Like, obviously, there's this whole like hipster culture in the sense that either you want to be the first person to like someone or one of the only people to like someone because you feel different and you stand out or whatever. But what does it actually mean? What do you actually gain from it? Like,
yeah. I think that's what I was trying. I worded that quite badly. That's sort of what I'm kind of going for in the way that the moment someone who's liked within their own community, who's sort of like more of an underground, sort of not as well known person, the moment they become liked by everyone, like the general public likes them, they become disliked by the people in their sort of core community. I can't get my head around it. I think it's stupid. Like, people should be happy for the fact that they've broken out of that small little group and everyone knows them. Surely.
People like to shit on people that are untouchable. Like, at the end of the day, like, people are going to always say stuff. People can say something about KSI right now, like, it's not going to filter through to him. He's not going to hear it. It's not going to affect him. But they're saying it because he is where he is, you know? And
But I think when people...
just saying, like, that wouldn't have happened to him back in the day when he was first uploading his videos. I think people always say that, actually, when YouTubers have normally got over, like, 2-3 million subscribers, they actually say they preferred it when they had the smaller audience because it was more engaged. But now they get everyone's eyes coming in and saying what they want, you know?
And I think when people are at the top, people love to see someone fall. And I think that there's very much that sort of like... Not hateful is quite a strong word, but there's very much that critical mindset. It is jealousy.
It's all it is jealousy. You can't stop people from being jealous. It's the same way that we spoke about it with Instagram earlier, and people looking at other people's Instagrams and wishing they looked a certain way or wishing they were doing certain things. All it is people just like who have not worked on themselves enough to... they've not worked on themselves enough, so they are reflecting what they want to say on someone else instead of saying to them, sort of thing, and they're just using someone as an easy target. And someone who is up at the top,
I think that's very well said.
Someone who's up at the top is easy to go for because they're untouchable, you know. So, and it doesn't actually affect them, sort of thing. It's like I've never got hate comments. I've never got anything like that. I've never got shitting on someone because they're doing.
Have you not?
Which, like, I don't understand how people do it. Like, I just don't.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant you've never got hate comments.
Oh no,
you've never received them.
I've got those hate comments.
Like,
I promise you that one, buddy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's no way that you've got to this point and haven't received any hate comments. Yeah, I agree with you that I don't understand it. Well, I do understand it to a point, and I'll tell you why. I think I was talking about this because I don't know if you saw that Mini Minter was criticised quite a lot recently because of his like sort of like, negative attitude, as people were saying. I don't think it's a very good excuse to sort of like tear someone down because it isn't like an actual like objective mistake, if you get what I mean. It's just like his persona that people are criticising. But I think that there's two different types of criticism. You've got people who are leaving kind of negative comments because they want to drag someone up because they like the person and they don't want to see them acting a certain way. And then you've got the comments that people leave that are negative and they're leaving them just to sort of tear someone down, and they're saying it to almost get a kick out of it themselves rather than to actually like change the person. And they can be mistook for one another sometimes, but I think I do understand trying to drag someone up. I can't really understand dragging someone down purely for your running game.
I would call dragging someone up though just feedback. Like, feedback and hate comments are obviously very like different. If someone in the... So I assume you're talking specifically about the Sidemen video that came out this Sunday, right? So I was sitting there watching, and from the get-go, when Simon was like not joining in really from the get-go in that Ethan and Josh's COD video, right, or whatever they did, the COD party, and he just seemed a bit like disinterested. Okay, if someone left a comment saying like, oh, Simon wasn't at his best today, but I'm sure that he'll come back soon or whatever, as opposed to, oh, Simon's just really like letting the team down, or he's doing this and he's being so selfish and blah 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 blah. Nothing's gaining from that. Like, all that's going to happen there is if Simon looks at the comments, he'll just be disheartened about it or whatever.
I think that the thing about Simon is that like all due respect to him, I've always had respect for Simon. I think he's a good YouTuber. I think he's done well for himself. Admittedly, not necessarily through a come up of his own. He has come up as a group. Doesn't really matter in my opinion. He's still made a good name for himself. Like,
exactly.
I just think that recently he hasn't really shown himself in the best light, and I think that he has definitely seemed like less enthusiastic than what he used to be. Which, of course, everyone has bad times. It goes back to the mental health thing. People should be preaching that, like, it's okay to have bad days. I just think the thing about Simon, the one thing I will say about him is that I don't think he handles the hate that well. Because a lot of the time he'll respond to it. A lot of the time he'll tweet something showing that the hate comments have affected him. He's mentioned it on his podcast a bit. I don't know if you've listened to his podcast with Simon and Randolph, but he's mentioned it on his podcast before. He's like, oh yeah, I've read the comments, people hate me. The internet being as brutal as it is, they smell blood when they hear someone saying that. So I think if I could give one bit of advice to him, it would be stop acknowledging it, because I think that is the reason why he gets picked on more than anyone else in the group.
Yeah, possibly so. I think I feel like it is obviously going to be hard to avoid, especially when you've got that many eyes on you though, and you're getting that many comments about it. And obviously he's only gonna take the negative comments on board. Like, you could have 20 comments that are saying how incredible you are and how, like, funny you are and how beautiful you are and all of this sort of stuff. He's going to get one comment that shits on him, and that's going to be the one that sticks, isn't it? And
yeah, no, negative comments definitely, like, they get under your skin a lot more than the positive ones do, but I guess that's just human nature.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like, the reality is like, people are always going to leave those sort of comments. Nothing's really going to be gained from it, and the stronger you're able to turn off that switch and not really be affected by it, it won't make a difference. Like, I don't think Simon was in his best form on Sunday on the video, or last Sunday, whenever this goes out, the Come Dynamite.
This won't be out till next week, so yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't at his best, but like the hate comments, what does it achieve, man? Like, I've never got it. I've never understood it.
I would agree. Yeah, talking about, like, YouTube and sort of, like, how to grow on YouTube. This isn't really a segue. This is completely changing the subject. I don't know why I'm trying to make it seem like a segue. But obviously, you found your way into a little bit of a sub war recently, haven't you?
Yeah. Talking of bridging it in, I don't know how I've managed this.
Yeah.
So Sophia Booth. You're gonna have to correct me if I'm saying these wrong, because all I've seen is their screen names. Sophia Booth and Marley Swarbs, right?
Yep, that's spot on.
Two of your mates, I believe.
Yes, yeah, I'm quite close to both of them. Yeah.
So I saw the. I've been following some of you guys on Twitter anyway. Like, I've been trying to start feeling a bit more involved in the community, right? And, like, start talking to people who are making videos and who are similar sort of levels to me and Marley was like, I want to have a race for 1,000, and I basically responded with, like, the eye emojis, because I was around 600 at this point, and I'm now like 750 odd, and yeah, I basically just left the eye emojis, and Marley was like, would anyone be interested in me, like, going head to head with Liam? No one obviously knew who I was outside of this, like, little community that they've built, the two of them. So them and Sophia went head to head. But the more I started speaking to you lot, and also the more that I started posting, and I was actually like, I'm gonna get to 1,000 first, I've really somehow wriggled my way into this. I mean, I've dyed my bloody hair. I'm showing it to the camera.
I saw that, yeah.
Like,
yeah,
so ridiculous.
It looks good, man.
So yeah, they're obviously having a race of 1,000, and the loser dyes their hair. I've just gone out there and said, well, I'm going to dye my hair now, and I'm still going to beat you guys, and that's sort of the message that I'm going for.
It's a good,
so I love a bit of friendly competition.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's friendly competition, and I think that is really what you need on YouTube. So, like, obviously, I had my sub race against Jack Hodgson, didn't win, atrociously actually, looking back on it. But it's what I needed, because it spurred me on to make videos that I wouldn't have made otherwise. It spurred me on to push myself into places that I wouldn't have otherwise, and it just kind of, it gives you an incentive to grow, and I think that is really 100%. What you need, because if you plugged yourself in the comments of someone's video just for no reason, just being like, sub to me please, they might look at you as a bit of a beg. But if you comment on someone's video being like, sub to me, I need to hit 10k before this time, or I'm getting all my hair shaved off, at that point they're like, right, okay, I'll actually go sub to you, I got you. It's definitely, it gives you an incentive to keep making videos, and it gives other people an incentive to subscribe. So yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing to do. Yeah, no, I love liking the friendly competition vibes, and like also, like, I spoke to both of them a little bit on Twitter, and like we've been speaking the last couple of weeks. Like, they're both obviously lovely people as well, and it doesn't actually,
for me anyway, if one of them beat me to 1,000, it doesn't mean anything different to me. Like my goal will still be to get to 1,000. Obviously, they're lovely people, and it's just spurred me on that little bit more. And I'm like, right, when I seen Sophia started to grow a little bit, I was like, right, I need to get this banging video out now, and that's the sort of mentality that I think you need.
I think you're in quite a nice position in this sub race, because obviously like it started just between those two, but then I guess since you're at a similar point to them, you've sort of like slowly become more and more involved until now it's like a 3-man race. I think that you're in quite a nice position because although you're just as much in the race as them two, if you lose it doesn't really look as bad because you weren't the one that initiated it. Exactly, so I think you're in the best position. You're in the best position of all of them, because if you win it looks good, but if you lose it doesn't. So
exactly.
Sorry, if you lose, it doesn't look bad. Is what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I've thought this. I thought this all through. This is all my tactical plan, and also like the dyeing of the hair and stuff. Just like it was almost just like a little friendly fuck you to sort of be like.
It's like I don't care. I'll dye my hair anyway, even if there's no, even if it's not a forfeit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I love to see. It's nice. Yeah. Final thing I want to talk about, I think we can probably wrap this up fairly soon. So you've done a lot of videos where you've kind of gone out and done stuff. The main video that sort of stood out that I've seen you've done a couple of times is this paperclip trading video. Do you want to talk about like how you came up with the idea for that?
Yeah, I will. So, so yeah, there's a guy called Carl McDonald who is a Canadian man who once started trading a paperclip. So he took a red paperclip and he was like, I'm just going to keep trading this, and he traded that paperclip for like a novelty fish pen, and then he traded that fish pen for like a slightly bigger item, and slowly worked his way up to a house in like just over a year or something. And this was a while back now. This was like early 2000s, I think. And it was this cool story, and I was looking for something that I wanted to do because I knew that I wanted to go out on the streets and start filming content out and about in the streets. And I was like, well, this could be a good idea to take a red paperclip and just see what happens out on the streets and just start trading with random people. And surprisingly, like, people start trading with me, and I've worked my way up to like a few decent items now over the space of 4 episodes. But it's just the interaction with people and the banter I have with people out in the streets. I just love it. I just find it so funny.
I was going to say, I watched it today. I thought that it was a really good video. One, because it's sort of like there's a story behind it with this, what's his name, Carl McDonald, did you say?
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a story behind it, so you can sort of like have a voiceover kind of talking about it, because we're in this new age of YouTube now where you need a voiceover in pretty much all your videos, otherwise like people don't really like you can't necessarily just vlog anymore, just be like, guys, we're out in public today, and do it. There's got to be like more of a narrative and a story behind it, because I guess that's just what YouTube content's kind of moved into. So you've 100% nailed that there. And the general public, you can't match it. I think that's the main thing. Like, there's certain things like interactions just with random members of the public, you'll occasionally just find absolute gems, and it's like, I'm glad I came out today, if you get what I mean.
Right, literally, like the first video I did of this, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and I went out in the street and I was filming with certain people, and then I was talking to this group of lads who were like, must have been like mid-teens, early teens. They weren't very old, right? And all they wanted to do was just be on the camera and just take the piss a little bit and offer some really stupid things to swap. So at this point I've got like a £1 coin, and they're pulling out like their school calculators and everything like that. And then this kid all of a sudden pulls his homework out of his bag, and the wind takes it, and his homework blows into like a bed of water that's below. I was like, what homework is that? And he was like, that's my science homework. And I was just like, so your science homework has just gone into this water? And instantly I'm like, this is the sort of stuff that people are going to watch the video for. The stuff that I have no control over. All I can do is guide it and just hope that it's funny.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm performing well.
It's just funny because it's like technically as a result of you, his homework ended up going in the water, but not through a fault of your own. But it's like the interaction resulted in something just really funny happening to him. So that is just comedy.
And also,
gold,
what's funny, I've not spoke about this after the episode as well. About it yet, but the guy actually DM'd me like 2 days later and asked for the link of the video because he had to show his science teacher why he lost his homework. So they had to watch my video to prove that he'd actually dropped his homework in the water, which I find hilarious.
That's brilliant. Alright, very nice to chat to you. I think we can probably wrap that one up there. Thank you very much for coming on. We've had some very good moments in this one. Do appreciate your time, man.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I feel like I need to say, get me to 1,000 subs before Sophia and Marley. Subscribe to Liam Bedford.
His channel is linked in the description, so you can go subscribe to Liam. Subscribe to me if you've managed to get this far on the podcast without subscribing, then you're mental. But subscribe right now, drop a like on the video, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.